All right. So today we're talking about listing presentation. We call this 102 because we've done a listing kind of presentation in the past. And so we've added a little bit more to it this time around because we should always be, learning a little bit more. And so as you'll see, what's on the screen that I'm sharing this is actually from the Yes book that we've been covering in our scripting classes. And so this is actually his presentation for your listing appointment, because it's one thing to have the listing presentation, but do you know which questions you should be asking when you get there? And so when you first get to an appointment, what do? Somebody talk to me. You knock on the door, what happens?
Me. Just kidding.
Me. Come on. You're at a listing appointment. You knocked on the door. You walked in. What'd you say? What happened? Somebody talk to me.
I always say thank you for having me. Is that okay if I set my stuff here by the table? And then I ask them if they can show me around. And that's where I usually start, having things in common with them and telling them what I like about the house and things like that.
Awesome. Very good. She's actually saying what we actually see right there on the screen. She's thanking them for the opportunity, for having them over. And there's two ways. What Kim mentioned was, she says, hey, show me around, tell me a little bit about the home. There's two approaches, and to each agent gets to determine how you're going to move forward. With this one here, they say, would you be okay if I took a quick tour myself? Some agents like to tour the home apart from the owner so they could see it through the eyes of a buyer, as opposed to what some would refer to as the seller was to show you. Sometimes they may kind of upsell the home a little bit. So both strategies work very well, but again, you're building rapport as you come into the home. All right, so fantastic there. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Kim. After that, of course, you're going to sit down. And as we've circled right here, some of this right here, just great questions to ask, great conversation to start with if you don't know, especially if you're new, like, okay, do I just start, telling them about how I'm going to market their home? It's right here says, now the first thing I like to do is review your situation and what's important to you about making this move. Great question, because you're making sure that they see the importance of what they need. You need to move. How can I help facilitate that? What things are going to be important to you? I need to move to Corona by the end of 2020 so I can be closer to my grandkids. Okay, now I see my time frame. I see the motivation for why you want to move to Corona to be closer to your grandkids. So again, understanding what their needs are. Critical. Before you start selling anything, what do they need? All right? They've got a couple of really great questions here that I think you should incorporate if you don't already have in your listing appointment or presentation. He says he's got three questions here. First one, are you definitely ready to sell your property? Great question. Because some people might be on the fence. They're just having you over for an interview. You need to know that moving forward, what you're up against. Next one, will you price it where it will sell, or are you okay if it sits on the market? What is that telling us? What if they say, I'm okay with it sitting on the market? What is that telling us if they answer that way?
If they're motivated or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're motivated. That means they may overprice their home as well, because they're thinking, I want, 500, all the comps are 450. So I know that may not even be a listing that I'm going to take, but you know that right up front, all right? And then question number 3, most important, do you want me to get it sold for you? You're asking right up front, am I the guy, am I the woman who's going to make this a reality for you? Because they could say what? What's something that they might, response you might receive for that?
Well,
No,
we
I
need
already
to think about
have
it,
somebody to sell it.
or maybe they're meeting somebody else tomorrow at 6 p.m. Another agent.
Absolutely. What were you saying there, Michael?
I was just saying they might have somebody else, like a family member or something, so you don't want to waste your time.
Mm-hmm. Great. So you know who it is again. If there's any competition that you're going to be up against. Again, critical questions that you're asking: do they really want to get this thing sold? Do they want to get it sold at the right price? And do they want to work with you? You want to know that right up front so you can know how to best serve that particular customer that you're working with. So I've actually thrown in Tina's name here. That's what that's supposed to say up here. A couple other points as well. It says the purpose of our meeting today is twofold. First, it's to provide very important information about what it's going to take to get your home sold for top dollar. So you can get to where they're going to. Where did we say she was moving to?
Oh, I missed that.
Corona,
Oh,
right?
Corona.
To be by December to be closer to her grandkids. The way that they frame this is, again, you continually reiterating to your prospective seller where it is they're going and why they're going there, reinforcing that in their mind so they don't forget. All right. So very important for them to be able to get their home sold for top dollar, right? You're going to provide them the information to help them make that decision. Number two is for you to decide if the right thing to do is to partner with me on the sale of your home. And then you ask the question, does that sound fair enough? Great questions to ask. The best agents, I'll tell you this right here, ask really good questions because you're able to collect information from them. See, what tends to happen sometimes is, maybe we as agents, we've got in our mind what we're going to say. So we show up at the appointment and we just start talking. Right, Felipe? It's just, and they haven't had a chance to share with you, what their wants, their desires are, what's going to, make them happy in this whole thing. It's just all about you. So reshift your thinking when you go into a listing appointment is to ask questions. Ask as many questions as you can. Write down your questions on a tablet so that you make sure that you're getting those answers written down. And so and this is the thing, and I would recommend this. I find this to be highly helpful as well. When you go to a listing appointment, take this with you. This tablet right here, there it is. This tablet right here, take one of these. Take notes on your tablet. I know we all love to take notes on our phones, but when you're staring at the phone, I honestly don't know if you got a text message, if you're checking your Snapchat or your TikTok. I don't know what you're doing. I can't see your phone. But when you have a tablet out, and this is the way I found it, you've got a tablet out, you set your phone down, they're the priority. You're walking through the home, you've got your questions, they're answering them, you're writing down responses, you're taking notes. This shows that what they're saying is what? When I write something down that you tell me, what does that tell you?
Important.
It's important, absolutely. And I'm gonna make sure that I don't forget, right? So very good. Make sure you've got a tablet with you when you go on any of these listing appointments, all right? Take good notes and ask good questions, all right? Something you want to talk about, right? Bullet points, we're going to go to 8 and 10 here. It says, there's really one key item for us to address today, and that is to determine, actually, let me slow down just 1 second. Yeah, because that's what my arrow's there. I should probably follow it. You sat down with them, you get an idea of where they're going and why they're going there, all right? You can do a couple of different things now at this point with your listing presentation. You can immediately dive into the market analysis. Or you can at that point showcase what you're going to do as an agent to get their property sold. My recommendation is to showcase what you're going to do as an agent to get their property sold because it creates a value for why you're going to ask what you're going to ask. All right? So that's what I would do. And then I flow right into the market analysis after that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just share a new screen here. 1 second. Here we go. You guys should be able to see that, right?
Yep.
So this is I call it your value proposition. What do you bring to the table as an agent? All right, you should have, if you don't already, some form of a listing presentation. And we're going to take our time, go through bits and pieces of this, and we'll put the other two elements that go with it as well. We'll talk about the CMA. We're also going to talk about a net sheet as well and how you can produce that and why it's beneficial to have it with you as well. But let's first get started with what we call the real estate sales proposal or your value proposition. All right, simply start with the cover page. I know where you need to go. I'm going to make that a reality for you. Let me show you how, is what you're saying here. All right. This should transition over for us. All right. Here we go. Now, this is a home that we've got actually coming up here. We're actually going to get it listed probably Monday, Tuesday. All right. This is just a snapshot. This shows them, I always have a picture of the home that we're going to be getting sold. It shows them that I've actually been by the home, like an actual picture, like I know where your home is. I've been by. They're like, oh my gosh, that's my actual house. I always have a picture of their home in here. My thing is always talking about this idea of getting their home sold. All right. We're not here to list properties. We're here to get them sold. I'm not going to go over in super detail everything that you see here on the screen. This is just an idea of what a listing presentation should look like. All right. Now, like here, we like to start with the idea of building a relationship. I sat down with you. I'm in your home. We're going to get it sold. But this is not just about getting one home sold for you. This is about me being your real estate consultant for life. All right. So we're going to build a relationship. And so we ask these two questions whenever we sit down with any of our clients. This is actually whether it's a buyer or a seller. We ask the same two questions because, again, we're building relationships here, and relationships need to be built on trust. We took that trust acronym, well, that word trust, we created an acronym for it so that everybody can see what they should be expecting from you as an agent, but also from them as the client. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Everybody follow me there?
Yep.
And then, of course, you can change these things up as you wish. Once you've established the fact that you're going to be, working together in this relationship, you turn the attention back again over to the customer. What do they need? All right. Well, they need three things that I found typical for anyone that you sit down with. They always want the most amount of money, right? Who doesn't want that? They always want it done in the least amount of time, right? And of course, they always want the fewest possible problems. That's with anything that we do in life. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Anytime you
100%.
work, most amount of money, least amount of time, fewest possible problems. And then you're showcasing them how you're going to actually accomplish that for them through your being a professional agent, having a solid marketing plan, and of course, a knowledge and competent team to actually accomplish that. Another little feature here that I like to showcase when we're sitting down with a client is who do you hire? It lets them know that there are options out there. I recognize that there are options who you can hire. And this might here give you an idea of maybe what you were thinking about in your head. And so you can see that by going with someone like myself, you're going to be in the best capable hands. Make sense? People like to feel that they are in capable hands. All right? Of course, this is another acronym that we use here. This talks about the different roles that everyone plays in getting a home listed on the market, sold, escrow, closed. All right. The seller has a role to play. The agent has a role to play. Everyone does something to facilitate. It's not all one-sided. Any questions on anything we've covered so far in regards to listing presentation, coming in the door, sitting down, starting the conversation?
Where do I get a PowerPoint like this to be able to go through the potential client with? Do I make this myself, or is this like a template that we use?
That is a great question, Philip. Now, we can help you build something like this. This one here, we created. I'll just tell you, it took me, I don't know, 3-4 months, spent about an hour a day on a slide and just went through and put the pieces together.
Okay.
Now there is, this was actually based from, believe it or not, the Toolkit CMA that you can find on 21 Online. And we took out what they had there and basically just gave it a facelift, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's where you can find that is there. And then of course, talk to myself or any of our marketing team. I know Chris has actually put together his own as well. Most agents that do a lot of listings have something like this.
Okay.
Because when this is something that's a template. The only thing I ever change on here is the data at the end and the picture in the front in the beginning. Other than that, it's cut and paste, you rock and roll.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's like fully legit. They come in there and they feel extremely confident knowing that you have something like this set up and you're going to sell their house. It's like way more confidence in them with the agent.
Exactly.
So I could see it being highly effective.
Mm-hmm. We talk about the next portion, of course, is their role. Something that I always encourage you to discuss is, getting that home ready. Getting that home ready is it going to be staged? Is it going to be empty, or is there stuff going to be there? And how are we going to make it how are we going to showcase it in its very best light? All right.
Okay.
Move right along. This is where I want to spend a bunch of our time this morning is the 21 points to marketing to getting your home sold. This again is going back to your value proposition. What are you going to do that the other agent out there isn't going to do? Why should I hire you versus the competition? All right, Philip, why would I hire you as opposed to Michael? How would you say that you stand out? What's the difference?
I have more ability to set up a PowerPoint and bring this to the table. I don't know. I've got a camera guy who takes extremely great shots and is able to show the highlights of your home. I have an eagerness to be out in the community to pass out flyers on your property.
Awesome. See, Philip, I love it, man. You ready to just dive right in there and get the job done?
Yeah.
We're going to walk through 21 points to what I feel is a great value proposition for yourself and your business. The first one is that I tell people is professional photography and video. And, Philip already touched on that. This presentation right here shows them the difference of why it's important for me to have a professional come in versus me taking it with my old brand new shiny iPhone 12 or whatever the case may be. Sure, they can take good pictures, but a professional photographer knows how to showcase a room or a space in its best light. Okay, I'm not a professional photographer. I don't claim to be, which is why I hire professionals to get it done right. That's simply something that I would talk about right there. Okay. The other thing that you want to talk about that I believe is very important is the fact when you list it on the multiple listing service, what that is, because most people, before I became an agent, had no idea what a multiple listing, what do you call it? MLS, multiple listing service? There we go. What a multiple listing service even is, right? And, it's letting them know that, we have the largest in the state of California. All of the information that they see here is what gets syndicated out to all the other websites. But I put a big yellow box around the description there. That's a critical piece. You let them know that I'm going to walk your home. I'm going to write down all the details, the things that people might not necessarily see in pictures, so we can write a very descriptive picture. We can describe a great picture of what their home has to offer versus the competition. You may have seen it out there. There's some homes that have one line, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, great opportunity. All it says. Like, I didn't know that they have, brand new water heater, brand new HVAC, the roof's been replaced, new energy efficient windows and appliances, like all of these things you may not necessarily see in pictures. All right. So that's another critical piece right there. Letting them know that as a Century 21 agent, they're going to get a custom website for their home. Now, you don't actually make this custom website. You take a listing, you input a dash form, and Century 21 creates this for you. But it's a great value proposition where you can share with them that your home will be at 123 Test Road.c21.com. If you didn't know that we had this to offer, now you know. All right? I'm going to move along a little bit quicker here. Letting them know that you're putting a sign out front. Some people will try to actually tell you they don't want a sign out front. You're letting them know that you want everyone anywhere to know that that your home is for sale. All right. Value proposition number 4. Number 5, we have a global website. So your home is not just going to be listed here locally, but around the world, because we don't know where buyers are coming from. They could be, you know, your next door neighbor. They could be China, India, I don't know where. Make sense?
Yes.
That's what you want to, that's what you'll be able to showcase there as well. All of this right here, again, these ideas I pulled from the Toolkit CMA, most of these, I should say. Move along. This guy's not moving along for us, guys. What on earth? Never actually seen this thing move like this. It's like stuck in something. I don't know. Let's see if I can get it out of there. There we go. Don't ask me what happened there. All right. We let them know that we syndicate. This is something that you don't know, that you don't do, but the brokerage actually does for us, where their homes are sent out to all of the different websites around the world, because we know that people are starting their searches online. Now, this is something new that we've added. Maybe you haven't seen this before if you've been to some of our presentations in the past in regards to a listing, is we provide virtual tours with industry-leading Matterport 3D home imagery. These guys are going to cost you maybe $100 more or so, give or take, but this is what I say is a critical piece that should be standard in all your listings now. Why? Because we live in COVID world now, and the world will never be the same. Even when COVID's gone, there will be those out there who are hesitant to what's happened with this whole thing. So by providing something like this, you let them see that people will be able to come inside of your home, basically, from their computer, from this digital imaging that we're going to get done through this outstanding software, Matterport. All right, and if you didn't know, believe it or not, you can actually do Matterport on your iPhones now. It's kind of insane, believe it or not, but they actually have an app for it out. It's just recently. I downloaded it recently, and I'm actually in the process of checking it out myself. So I'm not a professional, but still just kind of see what's out there. So I would highly encourage you, again, that's another great value proposition that they wouldn't maybe necessarily know where they could get something like that for. All right. Now, I do a lot of custom work myself, and so we've created custom commercials that we'll share via social media. You know, these are things that you can do as well, or you could take that out, not something necessarily that you have to do. We're going to skip over it. You don't need to watch it. America's second safest city is calling you and your family home. So we're just going to skip that. All right. Moving along. All right. Any questions so far on what we've covered, guys? Is this stuff making sense? Does this feel like this is something that you could do?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Century
Yeah,
21
everything makes sense.
offers
It looks good.
what's called the golden ruler. You know, this is where your agent, where your clients are going to get weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, depending on what type of property it is that you're listing, of what's happening, who's searching, and from where. So you inform them of that as well. Another piece is, you know, how are you going to market this property outside of that here locally? Because there's always a local market as well. The Board of Realtors still has its weekly meetings, and you can still announce your properties through the Board of Realtors meetings. So just go to srcar.org, see when those meetings are. I believe they're on Tuesdays, and you can market your properties. You get a new listing, you can market it there locally as well. So that's another value proposition that you can offer. We don't do number 11 anymore. I haven't found a replacement for number 11 where we used to do our office caravans. But we do advertise it locally here to our agents as well. We used to do mailers, rather not mailers, just do door knocking with flyers. Now we've actually changed it where we publicize through mailers regarding their property as well. We used to do in-home open houses. Now we promote their home through virtual open houses. We did a class on virtual open houses, how you can do that. You can set it up so that when they go on to century21.com, or it will actually tell them when this is actually going to take place, these open houses. People can show up at the open house, they answer questions, and you can talk to them about that. If you haven't seen that class, please make sure that you take an opportunity and see it. It is saved on our YouTube channel. All right. This is a critical piece right here. I think is huge. I mean, absolutely huge. If you don't have like a home stager or a consultant, I know many of us like to have an idea that we can set a home up and it'll look like the model home. You know, I work with a lady by the name of Annette Rogers. She's not the cheapest. I believe it's $250 we pay her to come out for a consultation. And she will spend 90 minutes. She'll sit with your client and she will help them to, if they're going to leave the furniture in their home, how to set that furniture up, to take out things that are going to make the space maybe look cluttered, to open it up so that they can showcase their home, even with the furniture that's there, as if it is maybe a new build with that's staged. Does that make sense? So as you can see here, according to a study conducted by the National Association of Realtors, homes that are staged are selling faster and at higher prices than those that are not staged. People walk into a home and it looks like the brand new home, they just pay more for it because it looks better. All right, presentation is everything. When was the last time you went and got a meal at a sit-down restaurant? Now I know the whole world's all COVIDed out, whatnot, but when you go to a restaurant and they bring you your meal, do they just take your mashed potatoes and just slop it on there, you know, and they just throw the green beans on the side of the plate, you know, and I don't know if you're getting a steak or chicken, they just toss it on it, or is it nicely arranged on the plate? Is it appealing to you when you see it, like, oh, wow, like you feel okay paying for whatever you pay for it, as if it was like maybe at your own house, you just like, you know, throw me some of those on there, throw some down there, stuff's kind of on top of each other. That's the idea of a stager. It's kind of like a plate of food. You look, man, this looks great. I'm going to enjoy this. They come into this home like, I'm going to enjoy living in this home. Looks great. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. The mouse. There we go. Couple other points. The market analysis. At this point, you could pause and you could go into your market analysis, or you could do it at the end. The way that I do my presentations is it just depends on kind of how things are going. My market analysis are always done on paper. I don't do digital ones, even though there's some great options out there. If you came to the Cloud CMA class the other day, they show us how we can actually show those virtually and live as well. But what I'm going to do is we're going to pause there. We're going to jump into the market analysis, all right, the CMA. So we're going to stop the share on that one. And we're going to go back to where we were. Just want this here. Boom. You guys should be able to see that now, where we were before. Let me get that off that screen. Boom. So a market analysis. Here's some questions you can ask. We'll just read them from the screen. It says, now there's really one key item for us to address today, and that is to determine the right price to set on your home that will cause it to sell, right? I mean, that's a great question. Absolutely, for sure. Obviously, it says, because obviously you don't want to put on the market to have it not sell, correct? You're asking really good questions. Yes, I want it sold. All right. I jumped down to number 3. So the key today is for us to establish the right price that will make those qualified buyers excited about the house that they're going to see. Does that make sense? And of course, they're going to answer yes to that question. You're asking questions that you would already anticipate the answer is going to be yes, because who doesn't want qualified buyers excited about buying their home? Everybody does. And then there's 3 points here that you can put into your market analysis. The 3 main points are, a lot of agents will do active listings. That's A that you see there. They'll do expired listings, and then they'll do sold listings, all right? You don't always have expired, especially in this market now. These things are flying off the shelves. But this is some terminology that I think resonates very well with sellers. The first of which, why does my light keep turning off in my office? Hang on, guys. We got these lights that are motion detectors. All righty. So the first one is active listings. He says, these are your competition. So you're showing your clients what the competition is out there. It says, I call these dreamland because it's what people want to get for their house, but they don't know what it's actually going to sell for. I use that all the time when I sit down with any of my clients. This is what people are dreaming of. Are dreams always reality? No. So just so you know, this is what your neighbors are dreaming of. If there's any expireds that I can pull, these are great. Why? Because he says right there, in regard to expired listings, he's asking, do you know what these are? He says, they're going to say, well, they're homes that didn't sell. That's right. Homes that did not sell at all. They wanted to sell, but something went wrong. I call this never, never land. Can you see why? What's his response to it? He says, can you see why? Well, the screen tells us because you never want to be here. You never want to be in Never Never Land with your home not sold. When you tell people things like this, maybe makes them chuckle a little bit, you know, helps them see that you got a little bit of humor in you. It's a great way to build rapport. All right. And then last but not least, of course, are sold homes, which we call what? What is the red word that's highlighted there in the middle of our screen? What's it say?
Realty.
Reality. Reality. Like this actually happened. All right. It tells us what homes are actually going for in the market. All right. So I say, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in Dreamland, Never Never Land, or reality? Well, what's the response you think you're going to get? Reality. It's exactly where they want to be for sure. All right. And so then, of course, we go into the purpose of the market analysis is to determine the value of your home. It says first, as buyers will look at it, and then second, as appraisers will look at it. This is a critical piece for you to explain when you're at your listing presentation, that it's not just buyers that are going to come in and slap some offer down on the table for your home, but that appraisers as well. He flips these around, but he says the appraiser because that's who the lender will hire to determine the value of your house based on what comparable homes are actually selling for. All right? They can put in an offer for whatever. And yes, the market right now, which is not a typical market, so it's not going to be this way forever, where people are paying above appraisal value. Typically, if it doesn't appraise, a lot of times you have to renegotiate, okay? So it's important for your seller to know that if it doesn't appraise at $500,000 because all the other ones are selling at $450,000, then I'm probably going to get $450,000 for it. So it'd be best in my case to list it for $449,000 and hope for $455,000. Make sense? Awesome.
Yes.
And then, of course, second, he says to make sure we price your home in a way that will make it attractive to buyers. Because is a buyer only going to look at your home, or are they going to shop around and compare with other homes? Answer me that question. Is a buyer only going to look at your home, or are they going to shop around and compare your home with others?
Shop around.
Absolutely. Exactly. All right. So as they look at houses, what do you think they're comparing?
Prices, the square footage.
Exactly. They're comparing the features, the quality, the condition, the location, and of course, they are comparing price. All right. As you have your market analysis out, the way that they're typically laid out, if you can do them, you'll do one home on the subject property on the left and maybe two comparable properties to the right of there. What I like to do is, even what he does here, he compares these homes side by side, and you get to ask the seller to compare. It says, how many bedrooms does this other home have? Because my neighbor's house sold for, it sold for $450,000, and mine definitely is going to sell for $475,000. Okay, here's your neighbor's house. How many bedrooms does it have? It's got 5 bedrooms. How many bedrooms does your house have? I have 3. Okay. How many bathrooms does your neighbor's house have? It's got 3. How many does yours have? 2. All right. What year was your neighbor's house built? Okay. 89. Yours built 89. What's the square foot of your neighbor's house? I don't know what to say here. 2475. Okay. What square foot is your house? 2,000. Okay. They're able to right there answer the questions themselves. Is my home really comparable to my neighbor's house? I love what they go down here in the bullet point C, where he says, your house is more valuable than this one because, and you can explain. Or this property is a little nicer than yours because it's got a brand new, completely remodeled kitchen and master bath. We have original, okay? And then you get them, hopefully you can find something that's close to theirs. Says this property is very comparable to yours, so that way they can help them get an idea of where they should price it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but not like, no.
Does that make sense? Everybody good there?
Yes.
All righty.
Yep.
Guys, again, you're asking questions. By asking these questions, you're able to collect information. You're able to help your client to see reality. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they're ready to list their home, they don't really see reality. So it's our job as professionals in the industry to help them differentiate between La La Land and reality. Okay? And the best way for them to be able to do that is for you to be able to provide data. Okay? Data is what does it. Pictures of those homes, all of that information. Okay? And then, of course, you'd go into, once you've done your CMA, you're going to go into what you would recommend they list the house for. It says, after looking at your house and reviewing what the market's telling us, I'm suggesting we list the house for $449. And you can see why that's the right price, correct? You've shown them the comps. They understand why their home fits in the box that you're putting in or the price range that you're putting it in. Make sense?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
So again, we've taken a slight detour from the listing presentation, but again, very easily you can incorporate this into your listing presentation, and then you can jump back into where you were before, which is what we're going to do right now. There we go. So you guys should be able to see my screen now again, and we are back to the listing presentation. All right. After the market analysis, we've got a cool little screen here. It shows them, of course, what that looks like. Again, you have the option to either just showcase it for a moment here and then get into the nuts and bolts later, or you can stop and go over it at that point. All right. Again, this is Century 21, so that's why we have 21 points for them to remember. It just kind of all goes hand in hand. If you guys are not familiar with reverse prospecting, this is a great way, again, for you to be able to showcase why it would help them in hiring an agent as professional as yourself. Because when you list a property, you're able to see other agents, clients who are interested in that property. And then if those people haven't seen the home, you can say, I know the agent, so I can reach out to them to make sure that they schedule a showing. Right? You can't do that yourself, but I can do that as an agent because I have what's called reverse prospecting through the multiple listing service. So we, again, never miss a potential buyer. Great piece for you to be able to showcase how you bring value as an agent, all right? Another thing, especially in this market right now, it says furnish financing info from affiliated lenders for pre-qualified buyers, basically getting them cross-qualified. So we get sellers, or we get buyers here that are interested in your home. Well, we want to make sure that just because their lender said they can buy this home, that they actually can. There's a lot of lenders out there who aren't good at their jobs, who are just providing these pre-quals, which is not a pre-approval. All right. They haven't done due diligence, and they open escrow every day, and they fall out of escrow later because they actually don't qualify. All right. So you're letting them know we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. We're going to open escrow. We're going to cross-qualify them. We're going to make sure that we can close escrow with them as well. All right, you let them know about the super key that you use to protect their home, especially here. I know COVID and with all of the masks and everything that's going on there as well. Maybe that's actually something we can add here is, I think that's what we're going to do. Whenever I teach a class, I always learn something myself as well. Putting something in there in regards to how you're going to keep them safe through COVID with providing either masks that you can leave at the home if people don't have one, sanitizers, you know, there's disclaimers that go at the front of the door as well to protect them and their family from, you know, this nasty virus out there that's unfortunately affecting so many people. All right. You're the negotiator, so you're going to negotiate on their behalf. Something else you can also offer is a seller's home warranty. At this point, those are kind of going away. A lot of buyers are buying them themselves just because of the competition. But then another thing that's very important is to protect them with the seller's insurance. And that's just going to protect things like the AC, the water heater, the dishwasher. Should any of those things break while you're actually listed, then that's going to be covered with that home warranty. So all they have to do is pay a simple trade call fee, and they'll come out and replace it or fix it. And it only costs you as the agent, depending on who you use. Old Republic is like $1 a day for the listing. America's was a home warranty of America's like $35 for the entire listing period. So those are some options for you there. Very inexpensive, but a great value proposition that you offer. Any questions on the 21 points of how you can bring value to the service that you're saying you're going to provide?
I was curious to know how to maybe if you're in the office sometime, you could teach me how to do the reverse prospecting on MLS.
Absolutely, can definitely show you reverse prospecting. Just be aware that reverse prospecting works specifically for homes that you have, that you're the listing agent on.
That makes
Okay.
sense. Okay.
Because then you're able to see who's looking at those homes. But absolutely, we can definitely show you how that works as well. The third portion of our listing presentation, we go over the listing goals. Again, we're talking about the most money. The way we get that is multiple offers. The best price is in there. I mean, the best amount of time, which is their time frame, and the least amount of hassles, because you are the one who mitigates all of that stress. I always put it right there at the bottom of my screen there. I charge 3% for my brokerage fees. And then, I recommend buyer's brokerage of 3%. And then at that point, if there's any discussions about commissions, you can answer those rebuttals or those questions if you have them. All right. Last thing is going to be, was there a question?
Yeah, I had a question. Do you have just like a printout of the 21-point marketing plan by chance?
I can share with you this a PDF of these slides right here, so you can have it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, man, for sure. Then there's the 6 factors that influence value. This is going to talk about how they're going to get dollars in their pocket. The 4 factors that have no effect on value. Now, before you went to your listing presentation, you should have made a phone call. This is another training that we can go over. We won't cover it all today, but you should have found out how much they owed on their home. You want to know how much they owed on their home because you want to provide them with a net sheet. All right, so we're going to jump screens again real quick. Here we go. And this guy right here, the net sheet presentation. What is a net sheet? What are you doing with it? Net sheet gives you all the costs associated with selling your house and how much you are actually going to walk away with after the sale of your house. That is something you would like to know, correct?
Yes.
Alrighty, there's somebody that you want to know how much you're going to walk away with, right? I mean, I bought this house 10 years ago for, let's say, $385. The market's looking like it's $550 now. I owe on it $325. So you got fees, there's escrow fees, there's title fees. Like, how much do I put in my pocket? You need to be able to, when you go to a listing presentation, provide that information to your client. Okay? If you don't know how to get or prepare a net sheet, let me show you how. You want to see how to do it?
Yes.
Awesome. Here we go. Back to my other screen. I'm just jumping all over the place. Here we go. You should be able to see my First American on your screen now. It's got a little map of a community there. Everybody see that?
Yep, I see it.
So if you
Yes.
I talked to Patty Sather. There's a lot of them out there. This is the one that I found to be most useful, user friendly. It's clean and easy for someone to understand. All right. In here, there's a thing called Cost First. So if I open up Cost First, it takes me here, and then I go to this thing called a seller's net sheet. You can do this on the car as well, like Zip Forms, they have it as well, but it's just not as easy. Like this one is so super easy. So it's got your information up here. You put in, this is Tina Ramos, I'm just making up some names here. Why not? Tina lives at 40061 Walcott Lane. I don't know where that is, but whatever. We're just going to find it. All right. She's going to sell this home for $550,000. What happened? $550,000. 1, 2, 3. All right. She owes on the home right now. Here's some loan balances, existing loan. Let's say she owes $330,000 on it. But she's got a second, another question, a second mortgage for $25,000 as well. All right. So it's already going to give you escrow, title fees, All that's right there. Transfer tax, it's all done. It even puts in a pest control. That's including if they were to get a termite inspection themselves. And then it already breaks it down into the commissions at 3%. So maybe, you know, they decided in this market they weren't going to pay the buyer's agent 3%, and they were only going to offer them 2.5. All right, and so it's going to make that adjustment for them. And then it's we're going to include a home warranty. Will be nice. We can give them a home warranty. We're going to pay for the NHD. All right, and then there's the recording fee. So all that's there. And so then they're able to see right here, they're going to walk away with 160, 554.69. And then all you do is you go up here to print, hit detailed estimate. And you probably can't see this because it's not, you can't see that, can you?
We can get a base of like what it looks like.
No, but did another screen pop up for you guys to see?
No. Well, yeah. No.
The screen you're trying to print?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Hang on, I got one for you. Don't worry. So what that's going to do is that's going to create for you. Hang on a second, guys. I think I got one here for you. I hope I do. Net sheet. There we go. Cool. Boom. So I'm going to show you what one of these looks like. Okay. What your client sees, because it's all about what's the end user experience. All right. So here we go. I just pulled it up. Net sheet. There we go. Share. Boom. So now you guys should be able to see. Let me put it onto a screen where I can actually work with it as well. Go back to it. Hang on. We'll get it there. Don't worry. Net sheet. Share. I moved it so it kind of messed up on me. You guys can see it now. I know you can. All right. You see that, Emery, Philip, Michael?
Yep. Got
So
it.
this is what you're going to print out and take with you. It's got their information up here. It's got the sales price. This is a different home. It's not the one we were just doing, but that's all fine. All right. It's got all of their associated closing costs that are here as well. This particular home here, they don't have an existing loan payoff. They own it outright. So there's no first or second loan that needs to be paid off. And then, of course, the estimated return that they're going to make on that property. Everybody sees that there?
Yes.
This is a critical piece of your listing for them to be able to see that you are the competent professional, right? You know how much they should list their, well, first and foremost, you know what they need because you've asked those questions, you've written them down, all right? You also have the tools to be able to facilitate the smoothest transaction of their home, sale of their home for the most money, and you've been able to detail them out what they can expect to make on the sale of their home. You've checked all the boxes that they need, so there isn't a reason why they won't be able to hire you today. Does that make sense?
Heck yes, it does.
Awesome. So these, again, are the critical pieces that you got to have when you go to any of your listing presentations. We're going to jump back into the listing presentation itself as we finish up our class today because we are just about out of time. Desktop. Hang on. That's the screen I want to share. I got too many screens open here. You guys see the listing presentation back? Is that what I'm sharing?
Yeah. Dollars.
Cool. There you
Market
go.
condition.
There we go. Finishing that up, I've got a couple more slides where I finish here in regarding to determining market value. I even heard an agent talking about it the other day saying, oh, you know what? You know, we started too high, so we're going to drop it a little bit, and then we'll wait another couple weeks, and then we're going to drop it a little bit because we really priced it we overpriced the home. That's a bad idea. It's a bad idea because over time, that home is just going to lose value as opposed to properly pricing it at the beginning of the listing so that they can get top dollar for it. The longer a home sits on the market, especially in this market right now, the less likely they are to be able to get top dollar because if it's sitting on the market right now, there's probably a problem with this, what someone's thinking, so they're not going to give you what you're asking for. All right? So that's just this little diagram right here, I think does a great job of informing my clients of why it's not a good idea to what they would call test the market. You know, I tell them when we look at the CMA, You know, we see the properties that have already tested the market, those that are expired, right? We don't want that to happen. Those that have sat on the market and already reduced their price. So we don't need to do any testing. They've done it for us. So let's go ahead and get top dollar for your property now, price it at market value, and then hopefully we can get multiple offers and even get a little bit bump up, maybe make another extra 5 or 10 grand. Make sense? Next to the last slide, of course, we talk about, again, how to price that home. Again, we just kind of go over it one more time, you know, being intelligent when we price it, not overpricing it in any way. And of course, I love to go over this little piece here at the bottom of where the market is currently. You know, homes are continually moving, home prices are rising. The market is highly favoring sellers right now. But the really cool thing is, even though the prices are up and our buyers out there, absolutely, because interest rates are the best that they've ever been. So those are key little pieces there that I like to put at the end to share with my clients so that they can know what's happening here locally. Something that I love to talk to my clients about as well is that real estate is local. So when you sit down and you talk with someone, you know, they may have seen something on CNN or Fox News or ABC or whatever, NBC, whatever they're watching. I don't know if that was necessarily local real estate news. And so because I'm a local professional, I can tell you what's happening here in our backyard so that you can make the most informed decision. That's words that I use all the time, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. It's my job to help you to make the most informed decision. That's empowering them to make a determination of what they want to do with information. They are now equipped. The last thing that I put on my market, on my listing presentation is the local market. Like this one here is talking specifically about Lake Elsinore. So I'll have Lake Elsinore's data right there. The average days on market for all of Lake Elsinore. The months of supply is there, the average sales price, and the active listings. All right. And that right there is, of course, where I end my listing presentation. Typically don't have a problem getting the contract signed because we've been professional. We've asked the necessary questions to know what it is that they need to facilitate that being a reality. We've shown them how we're going to showcase their property, get it marketed in its very best light so they can get top dollar for it. And we've shown them how much they're going to walk away with, which is more importantly, one of the most important questions that any of them are going to ask. And then, of course, I just tell them, you're probably thinking, when should you start packing? And I tell them you should probably start today because our goal is to get your property sold and you onto Corona by December so you can be closer to your grandkids. Any questions on anything that we've covered so far in regards to a listing presentation? Anything that you're doing that's maybe unique that we're not doing that you'd like to share with some of the other agents? We're all here to learn from one another. Talk to me.
In
my opinion, Adavid.
Oh, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Philip.
The net sheet was very fascinating, and that I think that's an extremely high point to bring to the meeting, just so that they could actually physically see the numbers and have it make sense and be more eager to sell.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely great thing. If you show up to a listing presentation without a net sheet, you should be smacked. I'm just gonna say it out loud. All right, you know how to do it now. If you have any questions, let us know, because that's what people want to know. How much are you going to list it for? Okay, that's great.
It's the bottom number.
Yep. How much are you going to charge? Okay. Well, how much do I make? And when you can show them how much they make and they can see it in black and white, they sign on the dotted line. Amber, you were going to say something?
I would just say that this is the best looking one that I've seen in a long time. Only because it really attracts you to what it is that you're saying, rather than just giving them page after page after page and handing it to them and having them read it after the fact, because they're going to set it aside and never read it again. Mm-hmm. So, and I also agree with Philip in regards to handing them that seller net sheet. It looks like you came prepared, you knew what you were doing, and you have basically the exact amount of what they're going to be walking away with the transaction in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. You check those boxes right there, and I can tell you right now, if you've got the listing agreement in hand, make sure you bring that with you. Expect them to sign. All right. Don't go in there hoping okay, so where do we sign? Oh wow, like this worked. I didn't bring. make sure you have it. I'll tell you right now, from personal experience, sometimes, you know, our technology doesn't work like we want it to. And so maybe you'll think I've got it on my laptop, but maybe some glitch happens and you can't access it. Have a paper copy of a listing agreement with you in your briefcase, whatever you're taking at all times. Because should something go wrong, you can fill it out. You know what goes in those blanks. Get it signed and get it sold. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions? Anything else we can do better? Something that you're doing better that we can all learn from before we wrap up our training today? Awesome. Well, that is going to conclude listing presentation 102. I hope you guys were able to take away some great pointers from this, how you can improve on your business. As always, any questions, anything that we can do better, anything that we can do to serve you, reach out to Felipe, Amber, myself, your TC. We're here to help you be the most successful, the most equipped agents in the Valley.
I like it. Appreciate it.